Hey Strat fans, it's me, your boy, it's Colonel Strat, back here with another video. I'm diving back into Warhammer 3. I've been kind of on a Warhammer 3 tirade recently because of the recent Shadows of Change update. I'm praying that Thrones of Decay is great. Don't screw it up, CA. You fucked up real bad with Shadows of Change. Don't screw this up for me. You can't screw up my boy Nurgle, or, I'm a Nurgle fan, I'm an Empire fan, and I'm a Dwarf fan. If you even slight this one, it's gonna destroy me, so get your shit together. But I think on the bright side that they've done a lot better with Shadows of Change, the update, and if that's what I'm expecting for Thrones of Decay, I'm hopeful, very hopeful for it. In the spirit of that DLC coming out soon, should be pretty soon that we see the trailer, I'll have a video for that when it drops. I am going to cover one of my favorite Dwarf Lords that was added as a free DLC update during one of the last updates of Warhammer 2 cycle. It's our boy, the Thunderlord himself of Karak Azul, Thorek Ironbrow. He is really, really good. He's got a lot of buffs on the campaign map, so we will be looking at more campaign heavy stuff. We'll have to go into the campaign to see how the buffs stack up with everything in certain units, but he is not a lover of technology, so a lot of the dwarves more technological savvy units aren't going to be benefited as much with him, but he still is pretty good himself. Plus he has some master runes and a load of unique mechanics to look at. So without further ado, guys, before we get started though, remember that if you like the channel, leave a like down below, comment what's your favorite thing about Thorek or the dwarves, or if you're just excited for Thrones of Decay like I am, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Share this with your friends. I'm going to be uploading weekly, but I am planning on going to at least 2 times a week, so hopefully that'll be soon for y'all. So without further ado, let's get right into the guide for Thorek Ironbrow, the Thunderlord of Karak Azul. And we finally catch up with Thorek on the campaign map. So Thorek starts all the way down here in the Southland Thunderdome. That's going on right over here. So he has prime real estate with all legendary lords, so he can collect a lot of their defeat traits very early on. He starts with Iron Breakers, which is really good, and some Quarrelers, and a Grudge Thrower with the Rune of Stoicism on it. The rune's good. He's got some special runes himself. Let's look at our man Thorek here. So he's pretty buff for a dwarf. He starts with some auxiliaries. His skills here are where he really shines for his rune crafting ability. Fiery Temper reduces his cooldown for Wrath and Ruin, which I love. Wrath and Ruin, it's a nice explosion rune to have. Exacting Standards really buffs up his rune smith's heroes. And then Honorary Overseer, it's really good for construction and building up stuff, which the dwarves have a problem with construction times. And then Runic Talismans gives him a passive ability, the Master Rune of Spite, which gives him a damage per second around him, 5% ward save, and the passive ability Master Rune of Grugny, which also around him gives 20% missile resistance, and I think it affects all allies, and then this one affects all enemies. Proven Tools buffs up his Quarrelers, gives them the Rune of Burning, which cause explosive damage and reduce leadership for bolt throwers, so that's good, but I don't really use bolt throwers. Grudge Throwers get the Flaxen's Rune of Seeking, which is anti-large projectiles, home and on targets. And the Quarrelers get more armor-piercing damage, 50%, which makes Quarrelers almost a tier 3. They could probably be on par with Thunderers, but sometimes I still prefer Thunderers just for the raw missile damage that they give. The Runic Protection Lines gives passive ability Frenzy to the army and a charge bonus to the army, which is great. So like the whole army gets all of these buffs. So he buffs up a lot of like mid-tier stuff. So his mid-tier is very strong. For his top line, he gets his Anvil of Doom, which is really good. It gives him a big chunk of health, some more melee defense and all that. Veteran Anvil Guard gives him some more melee attack and defense. Rune Master reduces his shared cooldown for runes. Locus of Power, which gives him another explosive, which is insane. He's really, really good for a spellcaster for the dwarves. And then, of course, he has his standard Runesmith line, his standard red line and blue lines. He's got some things that buff up a little bit. And then for his specials, he has some pretty good artifacts here. His Thorek's Rune Armor gives him 15 armor, some fire and spell resistance, and then a passive that's an augment around the area and affects all allies, which gives them flame resistance and armor. So he buffs up a lot of troops. Like, he gives a lot of armor to his troops. So you can make shit tier stuff seem like god tier. And then his Kalad Barakak, I probably butchered that name. I'm sorry, fellow dwarf fans. I know I'm just a novice. This is a magic bombardment, and it also gives sundering attacks, which is really good for Thorek, and Frenzy on him already. But if he gets that skill for Frenzy for the army, I think it just provides the army Frenzy, not him. So this will give him Frenzy. And then if you collect them both, you get some control and some oath gold reduction for rune crafting, which is very eccentric to Thorek's playstyle. So he starts with a runesmith, which we could add him in there, but it's a global cooldown for the runes. So like if Thorek uses a rune, then there's a cooldown for all of them, but there's also a cooldown for that rune. So sometimes I do put him in the army, but really you can use him just to go scout around, and I'll use him more to level him up, to get him leveled up. We'll get the rune of speed for you. All right, now for his first building, he starts with a major settlement. So you just take out these orcs up here, collect the settlement. Starts with some gold, which is good. I will always hold off on this just because once I take Lost Plateau, which is usually in turn 1 or 2, I'll just build the barracks there. A golden rule that I live by is don't put anything that stops at tier 3 in the major settlement when you could easily put it in a minor settlement. You just have to defend it. We'll fight this one right here. Close victory. We start with the Rune of Stoicism, and he also has the Rune of Burning as explosive damage, so I think I'm going to give that to that, and I'll give the Stoicism, let's see, expert charge defense, and bonus to large. Yep, we'll do that to the Iron Breakers. There we go. I like his little thundering hammer. And then we'll do the Drink to Victory. One option that I always choose for the dwarves is Drink for Victory. Hit Lost Plateau. Take it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then, like I said, I'll usually just construct it here. Break that down, give you some space, because kind of isolated up here. Not many enemies are going to come around here, but you might be asking, Colonel, the hell is this on the map? So that has to do with our artifact vault. So we go there, and I believe we can find one of these artifacts, or a piece to reforge these artifacts. So we have some special grudges to get that. The Lost Gifts of Valea, reforge the following artifact, Keepsake of Grezel's Favored, Beard Rings of Grimnir, Blessed Pick of Grigny. So it's pretty much the artifacts of the Dwarven people. We gotta go and find these artifacts, and I think right here is when we'll find one, because that's what he's all about. So you want to reforge all these artifacts to get them unlocked in the artifact vault here, and with the Roton's Collar Beast of Control, you get a Yoked Carnosaur for your Regiment of Renown, which is really cool. And then you get an Ancestor Hero for that, some nice runes, you get some armor, a lot of awesome things for the Artifact Vault. But yeah, that's where you'll find one of the pieces. So you get them over there, and sometimes you'll have to fight an army for the piece. That's expected. In fact, most of the time you'll have to fight an army for the piece. You shouldn't have a problem with that. He leveled up quite a bit. Rune of Oath and Steel, and Wrath and Ruin. Alright, so now we go to technology for Thorek. You're going to be facing a lot of enemies over here in the Thunderdome, so again, I'll usually go for the Masterwork Crossbows to get more Quarrelers buffs, and then go through the Dwarven Resolve, Interlocking Shields, all of that, but Thorek already buffs up his army quite a bit. These Dwarf Warriors are at 95 armor. That is insane, because even without his skill that adds armor to units, he naturally adds 10 armor to the army. So just having the relic in his natural effect, you'll have 25 armor to each, which will easily put the dwarves over 100 armor for every unit, which negates almost all natural damage, all non-armor piercing damage. That is insane. He is really good at buffing up his troops. That's why I like playing him so much. Yeah, so see right here, Golden Tower, we gotta take that to get that artifact right here. He's all about collecting artifacts. He's Thorek, the archaeologist. He's Warhammer's version of Indiana Jones. So he's delving into ancient ruins and things like that to get these artifacts, so he can put them together and reforge the keepsakes. So he's got that special, and then he of course has access to everything else in the forge. As far as diplomacy goes, you could try to befriend the last defenders down here, because they kind of do align with you. They're going to be fighting Skaven here. You keep them on the rat's tails, but you should really try to finish the orcs, of course, finish them up here, and then this artifact's right here for the taking. And I think it's a Tomb King, or maybe it's Queek that'll have it, because Queek is up here somewhere. You'll have to take him out, but you see all these artifacts all littered over here. They're all in settlements. You'll have to fight a battle for them, but they're worth it in the end. I usually will just spam Dwarven Warriors, get them up, go up through here to the pass, and then I'll look to the west rather than the east, because the Tomb Kings in the east, they're kind of focusing on rats in the tunnels here, and we have to kick Scarbrand out of the land of the dead. And you know, because he's going to be probably the biggest threat with his bloodletters with their armor-piercing damage. But the rats aren't that big of a threat early on because we have armor and they don't. Anyway, that's usually how I play Thorek for his campaign. I'm going to run through it a little bit. I'll get back to you with my first tier for Thorek. I'll catch you guys in that one. Alright, here we are with a tier 1. Now, I tried to find one that ain't a siege battle, but unfortunately, this early on, not going to find one like that that's worth showing. So here we are with Thorek's first army. Of course, we brought over Thorek, and we have his runesmith with him. We also kept his iron breakers, which are, of course, insane. We also have some longbeards with great weapons, a huge line of dwarf warriors, as you would expect, some quarrelers in the back. I do like Thorek's expedition's color scheme. Orange is quite nice. And we have a couple grudge throwers. Pretty basic dwarven army, but the thing is, as he morphs, he's going to retain a lot of the old dwarven stuff, but all of this stuff is buffed up insanely. Like Thorek, he buffs them up a lot, and he also has Master of the Ancient Lore, which reduces his rune time. We have the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and we have the Rune of Speed, and the Rune of Oath and Steel, which is really good to have. So we're going to go up against the orcs here. Let's attack these towers. Alright, so we're attacking these towers real quick. We do have some explosions going off on the towers. That's really good. These grudge throwers are really good at breaking towers and taking some damage. But again, because of the armor buff, all of these have 95 armor. That's insane. But there is going to be some damage because they do have some armor piercing coming through. That is until we get these towers destroyed. They shouldn't be too much longer till they're destroyed. Let's speed this up a little bit because these dwarves march very, very slowly. We'll do a Rune of Wrath and Ruin there. That'll be good. Nice blob effect. Ooh, let's see it. Come on, let's see it. Ooh. Yeah. There we go. That's what I like to see. We've only lost 2 dwarves on the march up. We're already at the walls, so I don't think we need to keep peppering that. We can start peppering the forces inside. We still do have the Rune of Swiftness. Okay, so each one's on a cooldown. Okay. I think it causes a little bit of damage to the spellcaster. That's okay. We'll save that for later. This is going to be a pretty easy battle to show, but Thorek just destroys everything in his wake. We're going to fire up and over. That's the one advantage that Quarrelers have over Thunderers, is they can fire up and over. Whereas Thunderers have to fire directly into the line, Quarrelers can fire up and over. Now, I could do that, greater effect, but I think it does cause me to take some damage. That's alright. Let's do that rune, and then we'll do this rune as well. Just as soon as you have a rune, go for it, bro, because it's just going to make your guys that much better. Hey, look, we have so much more melee attack now. We're able to score so many more hits and just cut through them insanely good. Alright, and then we're going to get these guys over here. We've already taken the walls, pretty much. Aim for the guys in the back. Victory's within our grasp. We've cut them down to size. We only lost a few troops. So again, Thorek, of all the dwarf lords, I mean, the dwarves are pretty good for sieges anyway because they have so much high armor, but Thorek buffs them up even more. He's just insanely good for sieges. Of course, they're still going to be grueling. I have it on max speed, and it's still going to go at a crawl. Going to kill them at a crawl, but that's the hope, is that with Thorek being like this, you're going to be able to get to them easier and retain any casualties. We are taking a beating with 1 dwarf warriors here, but they're still doing good, still doing okay. It's just this tower. You're going to take some damage no matter what you do because the enemy are going to lob towers at you. They're going to try their best to stop you. Rune of Wrath and Ruin here. It's good. A little bit of boost kills here. But Thorek was one of them that I used for my tactics video, if you remember, where he used the Rune of Oath and Steel and his armor buffs to insanely overcast armor to himself and his units. He's really good at a blob tactic. Really good at that. They're still coming up and over the walls. Little stunty guys. They're still coming up and over, but they're doing their work. Fire at these guys. There we go. Now we've taken the tower, well, the whole area actually. Let's get the 2 leaders in, see if we can't get these guys up and on the walls. Now that we're getting these guys off the walls. They've taken a beating. We've taken a little bit of one, but they've taken even more. At least double or quadruple of what our stuff is. Vengeance! Vengeance! Vengeance will be mine. Alright, cast your runes on these warriors. And they last for a while, too. 24 melee attack, 30 armor. They last for a while, and they can really strive a push. And then the Quarrelers are going to take the walls. We'll pretty much have it secure by then. These longbeards are going crazy. They're going ape. Let's see, the grudge thrower. Let's go at this arrow tower. That arrow tower. Fighting the towers with the grudge throwers is probably the best bet you have. But we're doing good. We're into the city. We've slaughtered a whole lot of them. We've only taken a few casualties, but some of our dwarf warriors have taken some hits. So it's inevitable. It's going to happen, but we've killed way more. That's expected. Even though this is a tier 1 army technically, we do have some tier 2 units in here. We start with a tier 3 unit. We start pretty powerful because of that itself. They're mass retreating now, down to under 1,000. I'm going to have to speed it up though, Strat fans, because this is going way too slow. Okay, let's get them dead. Pretty much just sitting there taking casualties. We've done it pretty much. They got 600 left, and there goes the tower. She's trying to go for our quarrelers, I think. That's pretty much all of them. They just have a few stragglers. Have those guys engaged there. Those guys are done for, so we can actually push through to here. We just gotta get through here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Didn't take that long, but still. That's Thorek's first army. Again, it's pretty solid for a Dwarven army. Pretty standard too, but like I said, he really gets powerful with his buffs. He doesn't add anything unique to the table till after you get your artifacts, but he adds a lot to the buff. And actually, this was one of the first artifact battles, so we'll be getting one of the artifacts to forge one of the ancestor artifacts. So that was a tier 1. I'm going to play through the game a little bit more, come back at you with a tier 2. Alright, and here we are with a tier 2. We managed to catch High Queen Khalida out here. Our army's weakened, so we have the advantage. Plus, we're facing trash. Also, for our tier 2, what we got is our Ironbreakers, and we have some Longbeards instead of Dwarf Warriors now that we can afford them. Just ups their armor even more, because now their armor is up to 110, and Thorek has upgraded himself quite a bit. He's got all of his stuff. He's also got his armor. We kept our Quarrelers because we also, if you see here, their missile strength is insane. It's at 42 because he's got that special Lord option. Also kept the Grudge Throwers and Bolt Throwers, and we also got some cannons. Eventually, you are going to want to get some armor piercing because you can only buff up your Quarrelers so much until you're going to need some armor piercing. You can keep them on to help reach over the top of units, and it helps because their fire arc is better than a straight through gunpowder unit. But gunpowder units are heavy hitters, so you want to have them eventually too. So here we go up against Khalida. We also have this fire ammunition for the bolt throwers, so it's going to help us a lot. Let's have that bolt thrower go for Khalida herself. Grudge thrower go for the screaming skulls. And these go for the special units. Actually, they both go for the Ushtabis. When they get close enough, the biggest hit is right here. Let's get these guys in here. They can fire on the arrows, archers. Because that's the only problem, is we gotta kill them before they can resurrect. Because they're gonna have their Realm of Souls is gonna help them out a lot. Alright, so we just got to get their backline too. And that's the good thing about this, is we can get their backline pretty easily. Well, we just killed Khalida. See if we can hit him, because that's the biggest one in their backline. We did get hit by the Ushtabi, the spirit Ushtabi, on our backline, and that was expected, but they're starting to crumble anyway, so we're going to win. There we go. They're crumbling. Ooh, 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 ooh. They just fall. So that was a tier 2. Now I'm going to wrap this up and go back to the campaign, and I'll meet you guys at a tier 3. And here we are with a tier 3, so a lot of changes. We have our Ironbreakers finally taking the helm as the main troop with some hammerers on the side. I like to have them just for some extra punch. Do have our Quarrelers, but now we kind of have to get some Thunderers because we're going to be facing some heavily armored targets, so we have to take them. But you can still supplement Quarreler on here because they're going to help a lot still. And then in the back we have our Ballista, is the only thing that really stays because of that fire buff. It's really good for taking out lords. And then we have some organ guns and a flame cannon. Of course, we have Thorek and his Rune Lord. Really, you could bring Master Engineer if you want to have more ammunition, or you can even bring a Thane. It's really up to you guys what you want, but I usually rock 2 Rune Lords because we're able to just spam out runes more. So we're going up against Scarbrand this time. Let's see if his army is going to be tricked into coming towards us. Probably not. That's alright. We're going to move our artillery up, see if we can't hit him. Our Ballista ballista has the biggest range, so it will have to be the one that does the damage to kick it off. We may have to split up into two fronts. Oh, look at that. See? It's alright. Not like it's really going to cause much. We just have to pause our artillery so we don't hurt our own guys. They don't have a lot of armor, so it's not going to really do much. Yeah, they're going to be going away soon. That's alright. That is alright. Let's break the stalemate, cut up our troops. These guys will form the brunt here. Hammer is right there, Thunder is right here. We're gonna bring the Quarrelers up here, the Ballista up there, the other organ gun there, the flame cannon there. Sometimes you just have to do this, you gotta adapt with what you got. Alright, open fire, organ guns. He's got some bloodletters, he's got some marauders of corn. We got enough now. Alright, open fire. And then we're going to target Scarbrand with our ballista. Even though the flame damage is not going to do anything to him, we want to hit him with that armor piercing damage. I'm surprised the flame cannon is doing that much damage to the bloodletters, man. Jeez, I think it's because it's explosive. Oh, there they go. Oh, we're going to have to get them hammerers go. AI is being very, very clever with this. Clever, and then they do this, you know. Where they really don't have to. They just kind of shot themselves in the foot. Don't retreat, just fire. You can take them, they're just warhounds. That's another thing. You might want to take your missile troops off of skirmish because they can take it. They're dwarven troops. They can take that. Organ gun, fire on Scarbrand. And then we'll do the rune of negation on this unit of Ironbreakers. See? Like that. They already routed. And there's a big explosion right there. That knocked him to half health. Yeah, Scarbrand's going down. He's going down. Those ballista, the organ guns, and the rune of negation here means that he can't kill anything, so now he's going down. Scarbrand. We hardly knew yet. Yeah. I like how he just dissipates into nothing. And that's pretty much it. That's all she wrote for Scarbrand's army. He's gone. That was a quick one. But then again, you know, we were facing a much, much weaker foe. You do have to be careful. As you see, the flame cannon did a lot more damage to our units than they did to them. So I guess you'll be careful with your artillery units. Having them on auto fire may not be the best decision all the time, but it does help. Like I said, he buffs up. Let's look real quick. 135 armor for Ironbreakers. 135. And they got frenzy because of him. It means they do more damage. They're immune to psychology. They got some more magic resist. And the bolts, they have frenzy as well. And they have the flaming ammo, discourage. He's got so much that he can do. Plus he's got his special rune of doom, and you know, he's got his rune armor here. He's really powerful when it comes to buffing up dwarven infantry units, especially twirlers and bolt throwers. So that's tier 3. I'll wrap this up, meet you guys on the next slide. So that was our good buddy Thorek Ironbrow. Now I hope you guys learned a lot about him. Now he's not as interesting as a brand new character would be. I hope that the new DLC adds a whole lot more in terms of mechanics and some new units for them to flesh out like other DLCs have been in the past. Thorek just kind of felt like he fit in with the existing units, which is fine, really fine. And I love his artifact system, but I just feel like CA, you can do a little bit better if you add that cool Slayer engineer guy. Any Warhammer super nerds will know who I'm talking about. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Maybe you can help me in the comments. He's pretty cool. I'd like to see him. Anyway, that was Thorek for you. As you can see, he's really powerful. I hope that you guys learned a lot from this guide, that you enjoyed playing Thorek or any other lord in this wonderful game called Warhammer 3. So I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. As always, remember, if you want to talk to me, comment down below, leave a like on the video if you liked it, sub to the channel if you really enjoy the content. Helps me out a lot with the algorithm. Of course, as always, Strat fans, I leave with saying, remember to keep it strategic. Colonel out.